Okay, last day of surface area, and I'm not gonna lie, today is gonna be the most difficult. The reason we actually have a quiz this Thursday, and it's only Monday, and this is the last day, so we're spending 2 days reviewing for this quiz because we foresee this quiz being kind of the most difficult. So there are 2 different surface areas that we are going to be calculating today. We're going to be calculating the surface area of a pyramid and also of a cone. So for surface area of these pyramids and cones, what you're going to see either the height, H, we've been using that as a capital H, that goes straight up and down, either like in the middle or just goes straight from the base straight up to the top. The other thing you're going to see is this thing called slant height, and we use a little lowercase l, it looks all fancy. But a slant height is along one of the faces, so one of the sides, and it's slanted. You're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem a little bit today. So as you can see, the height would be like an A or a B, and then this comes out only halfway of your side, and then the slant height is like your C. So today, the hardest part is just, do you have the slant height or do you have to find it? So we're going to be taking a look at a couple of different examples. I'm going to show you one of each where you're given it and one where you're not, and then kind of go from there. So today's video may get a little lengthy. Just bear with me. I promise you, though, that this is the hardest of the unit. So to find the surface area of a pyramid, to find the surface area, you do 1/2 times the perimeter, which is going to be the perimeter of your base, so the perimeter of either the square or the rectangle, times the slant height. And then you add on base times height. And again, the base and the height are from the rectangle. So basically everything's from the rectangle down below there, except for the slant height. So that's really the most difficult part. So you need to know P, L, B, and H. Those are the 4 things that you need. So what we need to do first when we are looking at these, like we take a look at example 1, this is a pyramid. So we're going to use this formula right here. We need to know the perimeter of the rectangle. We need to know the slant height. We need to know the base of the rectangle, and we need to know the height, the little h of the rectangle. So let's deal with the rectangle first. Actually, it's a square. So that's your base here. So for perimeter, you do 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is 20. The base of the rectangle, well, the base and the height are both 5. Now the slant height. So this 6 is along one of the faces, so that actually is your slant height. You got lucky on this one. You were given everything. I'm about to show you one where you're not, so you can see the difference. So now that you know those 4 pieces of information, we can plug into our formula. So we're going to do 1/2 or 0.5 times 20 times the slant height plus, and then 5 times 5. So we're going to plug that all in. I'm going to grab my phone and load up Desmos for you. Let's take a look here. So I'm going to do 0.5 times 20 times 6 plus 5 times 5, and I get 85. If you're given everything, it's not too bad. It's when you're not given everything that's when it becomes a little more difficult. So let me show you another picture here, right here. So this was on a volume assignment a bit ago. So if we take a look at this pyramid, and if we want to find the surface area of this pyramid only. So to find the surface area of the pyramid, we take a look at our formula here. Here, let me do this. I'm going real good. Okay. So to find the surface area of this pyramid, this is the formula. Sorry, bear with me. This is probably going to make it even lengthier. Okay. So to find the surface area of this one, we need to know the perimeter of the base, we need to know the slant height, and then we need to know B and H. So we need to know the perimeter of the rectangle, the slant height, the base of the rectangle, and the height of the rectangle. So let's deal with the rectangle first down here. So to find the perimeter of the rectangle, you take 32 plus 24, 32 plus 14 plus 32 plus 14, and you get 92. And then the base and the height of the rectangle are going to be 32 and 14, which is great. Now for slant height, this 60 goes straight up and down. It's not along one of your faces, so we have to find your slant height. When you have to find your slant height, you're going to need to create a right triangle. So if this is my slant height along one of the faces, and that comes over, what I've done is I've created a right triangle. Straight up and down is 60. I'm solving for my slant height. Now, this side right here, you're going to want to just put the 32, but 32 is all the way across. So actually, it's half of 32, which is 16. And then you're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve. Pythagorean's theorem says a squared plus b squared, this is your a and your b, equals c squared. So we're going to do 60 squared plus 16 squared equals your slant height squared. 60 squared is 3,600 plus 16 squared is 256. That equals your slant height squared. Add those two together and you get 3,856. That equals your slant height squared. And then in Desmos, remember that you need to take the square root. The square root key is right, oops, you can't see that, sorry. Square root key is right here, so we do square root of 300 or 3,856, and we get 62.1. So our slant height is 62.1. And then now that you have all of that, you can plug into your formula. So again, if you're not given the slant height, like we weren't in this one, you're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem, and you may get some junky numbers. But then you just plug it into the formula, which you guys have proven day in and day out that you are awesome at plugging into these formulas. So again, slant height has to be along one of the faces. If it's not along one of the faces, you're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem. When you use the Pythagorean theorem, you have to make sure that you cut that side in half. So I've got another example in a second, but I do want to show you cones. I don't want to take up like your whole entire time, but let me show you how to find the surface area of a cone. Cones are usually a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about like P or perimeter or bases and heights, because you are going to see like radius. So as you can see here, again, slant height is on the outside. This is your height. Go straight up and down. See that right triangle there? So to find the surface area of a cone, you do pi times the radius times the slant height. So for cones and for pyramids, you need a slant height, plus pi times the radius squared. So you only need two pieces of information, which is nice. You need the radius and you need the slant height. So if we take a look at example 3, we need to know what the radius is and we need to know what the slant height is. So the radius, again, is 15. Slant height is going to be on the outside, and this one they actually give you the slant height. So sometimes when they give it to you, you luck out. If they don't give it to you, you're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find it, just like we did with the pyramid. So now I plug in. You do pi times radius times slant height plus pi times radius squared. I need to see this because I don't really have a way to help you if I don't know what you're plugging into your calculator. So let's say you write this all out, but then you plug it in wrong. I can at least give you the points. I can go back and change your grade because you showed that you knew how it should be plugged in. Maybe you just hit a wrong key. So to plug it in, we do pi times 15 times 25 plus pi times 15 squared. And we get 1884. Actually, it'd be 1885 once we round it. Because that would round, the 5 would round the 9 up, which then again would round the 4 up. So that is how you find the surface area. Let me show you one more example. We take a look at this one here. I'm switching it up again. If we needed to find the surface area of this cone. So again, for surface area of a cone, you need to know the radius, which is 9, and you need to know the slant height. This 15 goes straight up and down. This is your slant height. It is not given to you, so you have to use the Pythagorean theorem. The good news with cones is that they kind of already like create, or whenever they give you the radius like this, it already gives you the sides. So like if we think of this as just a triangle, this is 9, straight up and down is 15, and I'm missing my slant height. I'm missing C. So Pythagorean theorem says to take 9 squared plus 15 squared equals your slant height squared. 81 plus 225 equals L squared. Add those together. Oops. So you're going to add those together. 81 plus 225. You get 306 equals slant height squared. Then you take the square root. Again, use your decimals, take the square root, and you would find the slant height to be 17.5. And now you have all the information that you need to plug into that formula, which again, I'm not worried about you guys plugging into formulas. You guys are doing awesome. So today will be a little bit more difficult. Please pay attention, close attention to what you're given. Maybe you have to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for a missing piece, but please make sure you are being very, very careful and reach out if you have any questions.